Hello and welcome to the Little Historians Magazine TV. Today we're talking all about how transport has changed and developed through time. So if you want to know when the car was invented, make sure you subscribe. In terms of the earliest forms of transport, of course we've been walking, running, swimming and riding horses forever. But a very important part for transport development is the invention of the wheel. In 3500 BCE, the wheel was invented, and then people added it to carts or carriages, and then you add a horse, and you've got a horse-drawn cart that helps make travelling and carrying things a lot easier. The invention of the wheel also meant that roads had to be invented, and when the Romans came over to Britain, they built lots of roads which helped with direct transport and making travel easier, and a lot of the main Roman roads are still used today. The concept of the railway has been about since ancient times when people built wooden tracks that would be used to help move things to different locations using animals. But the railways we know today come from the Industrial Revolution. Thomas Newcomen invented an effective and practical steam engine in the 1710s. James Watt improved this engine in 1765, and then in 1804 Richard Trevithick introduced the steam engine locomotive that pulled carriages. Steam-powered locomotives were used up until the Second World War, and then things shifted to more electrical engines.
Believe it or not, people didn't always have cars. People started trying to invent cars in the 1790s using the steam engine, but it wasn't until 1886 that the first car using a combustion engine, which uses fuel to operate it, was invented, and Carl Benz is often credited as the father of the car, the first person to put a car into production. He later became part of the Mercedes-Benz company, which is a car you can still buy today. It's Henry Ford who is credited with bringing cars to the masses when he released the Ford Model T in 1908. This car sold over 1 million cars in 20 years, and it made cars more affordable for ordinary people. The Ford Model A was the first car to have a safety windshield, and from here, cars kept developing and adding new features to make them more safe and to make them better to drive. Did you know that people didn't even need a driving license until 1934. So before that, you could just hop in a car and drive it whenever you wanted. Crazy. The first ever bicycle was called a dandy horse, but the funny thing about it was that it didn't have any pedals, so you had to ride it and push with your feet. The next step in bicycles was something which you may have heard of called the penny farthing. So this had a big wheel, and you might have seen them, they look quite silly. This was in 1865, and do you know what? This period didn't last for too long, because in 1885 a bicycle was invented called the Rover, which looks quite similar to the bikes that we ride today. The 1890s saw a bicycle craze and is often called the golden age of cycling. In 1888, the Raleigh Bicycle Company set up in Nottingham, and they were the biggest bicycle company. They were producing 2 million bicycles each year.
People made boats using wood and sails for a very long time until the Industrial Revolution, when engines were introduced. Robert Fulton designed and operated the world's first steam-powered boat in 1807. This revolutionised boats because they could go a lot quicker. Later, diesel engines were introduced, and so were submarines.
Isambard Kingdom Brunel is an important man in the world of transport. He developed and created lots of things like the Great Western Railway, lots of important tunnels and bridges, and he even made the first transatlantic steamship. He revolutionised public transport and modern engineering, and you can still see some of his structures and things today, so you can visit the Clifton Suspension Bridge, or you can even visit the SS Great Britain.
Not too long ago, people hadn't even heard of an aeroplane, but in 1903, the first powered and controlled flight happened when Wilbur and Orville Wright flew their plane, the Wright Flyer. From then on, planes have developed a lot. Like in 1914, they were very important during World War I. Before this, they had just been made out of wood and paper, but the war changes things, and planes develop quickly, starting to be made with aluminium in 1918. In 1919, Alcock and Brown were the first people to fly transatlantic, which means they flew over the Atlantic Ocean. Then in 1927, Charles Lindbergh was the first to do it solo, and in 1928, Amelia Earhart was the first woman to do so. World War II also saw lots of advancements for planes because they were used for military purposes, and we have fighter jets like the Hurricane or Spitfire. After World War II, commercial aircrafts begin, and by the 70s, we have supersonic aircrafts like Concorde.
Concorde was a commercial supersonic plane that was in operation from 1976 until 2003. It was special because it used to travel at twice the speed of sound, so you could get from London to New York in less than 3.5 hours, which is amazing. You can't even do that today. You may have seen pictures of Concorde with its pointy nose and its special design, which helped it break the speed barrier. It's a very important plane, but it was very expensive to run, which is why it isn't in operation anymore. Thank you for watching. If you want to find out more about transport through time, then head over to our website and purchase our Innovators Edition, where you can find out even more amazing facts. And we'll see you next time. Bye.